That vague idea of probable cause is probably floating around somewhere in the back of your brain, like all of us, but even for attorneys and judges, it's a little bit of a hazy concept, and purposely so. The particulars matter a lot, especially when you're talking about cases like the Trump-Russia investigation. It helps you sort of sift through grandstanding from something genuinely important as Mueller shapes his case. So today I spoke with Robin Sachs. She's a lawyer, and she answered some of my questions about this, about probable cause, including what is not covered. Robin, we keep hearing the words probable cause. Could you lay out, as an attorney, when you hear those words, what does it mean just on a basic level?
Probable cause is one of those terms that is a legal term, but is a subjective legal term. It's a term where individual people, it's almost a I know it when I see it kind of thing. Basically, it is some sort of cause that connects something either to a crime or something to connect an object to a crime or evidence to a crime. It's generally in the context of a crime.
Okay, so in the context of, let's say, last week we heard about Paul Manafort's house being raided. And they said that there would have to be probable cause in order to do that. Where would that begin? Like the prosecutor gets a tip, or how strong does it have to be?
So probable cause is, it's no accident that the word probable cause comes from the word probably, right? It's probably related to the crime. It's reasonable for someone to connect either some sort of search, it's some sort of piece of evidence that's connect to some sort of crime. So it's not beyond a reasonable doubt, which would be the standard to convict someone. It's not even the standard of preponderance that you see in a civil case where it's more likely than not. It's a probable. And so when you look at probable, you're looking at what's reasonable. Is it something that the average reasonable person would look at and say, you know what, I think that there's enough to connect that place or that item to the person who's being accused of a crime.
Is there a benefit to going to a judge for this rather than to a grand jury? Because my understanding is you can go to either one.
Well, probable cause comes up actually in a lot of different circumstances. We see probable cause out in the field. For example, if you have ever been pulled over by a cop and a cop wanted to go start searching your car because he believed that maybe there were drugs in your car, without going to a grand jury, without going to a judge, a police officer utilizes the probable cause standard in his or her own mind and can search your car based on it. In the context of, say, Manafort or in serious investigations, usually you can go to a grand jury or you can go to a judge. The benefit of going to a judge as opposed to a grand jury is if that judge is the one who's going to be hearing the case, you're already starting to layer that individual judge's view of the case by applying to them for a warrant, which is based on probable cause. If you are going to the judge in advance, you're basically saying to the judge, this is the case that you're going to see in a few weeks. I want to give you the evidence in advance. And once that judge signs off on it, they're already thinking that a crime is afoot.
Okay, so that might indicate that they would be open to hearing this evidence later and proceeding forward possibly.
Certainly. And also, a judge is very unlikely to overrule another judge. So if a judge signs off on a warrant, presumably the standard for probable cause has met the legal guidelines, and that is usually then becomes an irrefutable argument later on, because to say that there wasn't enough cause and a judge signs off on it, for another judge to look at the subjective belief of that other judge in light of the affidavit that was presented with it would be a hard fight.
Robin Sachs, attorney and legal analyst, we appreciate you, getting us up to speed on probable cause. So now we know what we're talking about when we hear this. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you.